Great, welcome. This is a fairly short beginner's yoga class recording. If you want to experiment with a bit of yoga at home, and you don't have any props as well. So you can absolutely use props if you have them, wonderful. The one thing I'm going to invite us to have is a cushion, something to sit on so that your hips are a little bit lifted for the seated part of our practice today. I'll break down some of the poses in a little bit more detail, and we will think about our breath in practice. If this is a brand new practice for you though, feel free to just let the kind of breath flow or breath sequencing that I'm talking about go to the side, and we can think about breath another day. But give it a go, see how it feels. Know that if anything just hurts or does not feel right in your body, you can come back to the previous thing, or you can just pause the recording or pause the practice at any point. Let's begin somewhere seated. So if you do have a cushion, go grab one. We'll place it somewhere down on our mat, or if you don't have a yoga mat, doesn't matter, just somewhere comfortable. Carpet can be quite useful, or if you have like a rug or something to sit on, feel free to find that. I'm going to find a cross-legged seat here. Now, if you've never done yoga before, coming into this position might feel really uncomfortable. So you can have your feet up and the knees up. You can have your legs out in front of you if that feels more comfortable for you. But somewhere where we can be seated, or somewhere where it feels like you can stack the spine above the pelvis. So that element of our seat that I feel like is perhaps useful for our practice is this sense that we can like elongate the spine upwards. And you can land your hands wherever you need to. I tend to land them on my knees, lap, body, wherever you like. We're just going to take a moment here to think about our breath. So yoga practice often has a lot of connection to the breath as we move. So if you can become aware of your breath, or just notice your breath here. And then what I am going to guide us through is a few deeper breaths in and out. See if you can find a breath in here through your nose, and a breath out through your mouth. Nothing more complex than that. So breathing in through your nose, and almost like a sigh out through the mouth. Twice more. So a breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. A breath in and out. Great. And then allow yourself to either find your natural breath, or you might see how it feels to close your mouth and just breathe in and out through your nose, but at your own pace today. So a slow, steady pace that you set. We're going to take a bit of movement through the neck here. So let your chin start to come down towards the chest, and then rolling the left ear around so it meets the left shoulder. The right ear is slightly lifted. We're simply going to move that side to side. So if we roll the chin down towards the center, can you then bring the right ear towards the right shoulder, and then over to the left so the chin draws down. It's like a semicircle, one side, and then around to the other side. Great. One more time with that, round towards the left, and then to the right. Fabulous. Coming back to center, reaching the arms to the sky, so sending of the hands up. What we might think about here is trying to let the shoulders soften. So rather than reaching up like highest and the shoulders crunching to the ears, see if there can be the arms a little wider and the shoulders down, so away from the ears. Fab. From here, we're going to bring our right hand down towards the ground, and you can be on your fingertips or on the palm, and the left hand up over to the right as well. So a side stretch Well, that sense of opening and stretch down the left edge of your body. And then the same to the other side. Let the left hand come down. The right hand reaches up and over. One more each side. It's this circle or semicircle around. And then to the left again. Great. See if we can meet back in the center with the hands up towards the sky. And then can you take the elbows left and right to find our cactus arm shape. So the elbows have a bend in, the palms are facing forwards, elbows are the height of the shoulders. A breath in and out here. And then let your hands come down to the knees, just a roll through shoulders or any kind of wriggle out that you want to take here. Great. We're going to come over onto our hands and to our knees. So let your feet just kind of swivel around to one side. We're going to take our cushion, if you are using one, and just set that off to the side for a moment here. We want to come to a pose called our tabletop. So tabletop is where we're on our hands and our knees. Hands want to be under the shoulders, knees want to be roughly underneath the hip joints. And the shins are parallel here. You can have your toes tucked or you can have your toes untucked. Maybe decide which one feels better for your knees. And then fingers want to be spread quite wide here. So as if like the pinky finger and the thumb are chasing quite far away from each other. And then pushing down into all of the fingers at the same time. Our cat-cows is a very kind of common movement that we take in our yoga classes. So from here, so if you can drop the belly down and bring the chin to look forwards. The tailbone kind of lifts to the sky as well. And then the opposite is our cat pose. So this is cow. Cat pose, we're tucking the chin under and we're rounding the spine upwards. It's almost as if you're tucking the tailbone or the pelvis under here. And then keeping that movement going. So dropping the belly down to look forwards is our cow pose. And then tucking the chin under to look towards the knees is our cat pose. We're going to take that 3 more times here. Looking forwards, just breathing naturally however you need to breathe here. And then looking towards the knees to round upwards through the spine. One more time. Looking forwards, finding our cow pose. And then tucking the chin under to find cat pose. From here, can you bring your big toes together behind? Bring the pelvis back towards the heels. We'll find child's pose. Now you can either drop your elbows down to the ground and pause here. And in fact, let's all pause here first, just to lift your hands and take a few circles with the wrists here, or just some movement around with your wrists. We often put quite a lot of pressure on the wrists in our yoga practice, so it's great to move them around or come off your hands whenever you need to in your practice. Great. And you can either then rest the palms back down, or you can reach the hands towards the top of the mat and sink the head down towards the ground. Does not matter if your head does not touch the ground here. Having the head lifted is also a great place to be. But taking a few rounds of breath here. So if you can tune back in to the flow of your breath in and out. Great. And then can you bring yourself back to your tabletop? And we're going to think quite a bit about like where we have our hands placed here. So the hands really do want to be the width of your shoulders, or allow yourself to take them like a centimeter wider. And then imagine that you're gripping into your mat, so as if your fingers are trying to hold on to the ground beneath you. It might be that you get that little bit of like whiteness across the fingernails where you're gripping into your mat. And then can we tuck the toes where they are, so the knees are underneath the hips. Start to lift the knees to send the pelvis up, and then push into your hands to draw the pelvis back. You can see I've got quite a bend in the knees here. You can take that bend in the knees. You might walk your feet a little wider, left and right. So they either want to be the distance of the pelvis wide, or you can take them slightly wider. And then keep pushing the tailbone to the sky. Bend in the knees, really welcome. And you want to be looking roughly to the toes, or at least so the neck isn't straining to look forward. So let the head just kind of hang out here. And then you might pedal the feet by bending one knee more and then the other knee more as well. We're just going to repeat that pedal out through the feet a few more times here. So one knee bends and then the other knee bends. One more time. And then can we slowly lower the knees all the way down to the ground, coming back to your child's pose. So we're untucking the toes. We're bringing the pelvis back towards the heels. And again, you can land on your elbows and take a few circles through your wrists. Or you can reach your hands further forwards. But we're popping closer down to the mat. Just to pause again here. Breath in and out. One more round of breath here. Great. And then let's come back in again to our downward facing dog. So see if we can come to our tabletop. Hands are under the shoulders. Think about the position of your hands. Think about gripping into your mat. Taking a look at your knees. Are they underneath the pelvis here? And then can you tuck your toes? Push into your hands, almost as if you're pushing the shoulders up and then lifting the knees again. This time we're going to take a walk to the top of the mat. Your hands might come up off the ground fairly quickly, bringing your feet up towards the hands, taking the feet about the distance of the pelvis apart, and then letting the hands dangle to the ground. Keep a bend in your knees here, so it really does not matter how close your hands are to the ground. Or you can take hold of opposite elbow. Let the chin tuck slightly so the head is nice and heavy, and then a gentle sway of the torso left and right here. Taking a few rounds of breath in this shape. From here, let your hands dangle towards the ground, and then slowly rolling all the way up to standing, as if you're like uncurling a new leaf all the way up to a standing position. Once you're standing, familiar roll of the shoulders that we did seated. You might take that roll of the shoulders a couple of times here, circling around. Great. Wonderful. We're going to step the left foot back here. So the right foot wants to stay forward. The left foot steps back. Think about bending into your front knee. So your front toes, your right toes, are facing forwards, and then turning your left toe to face the long edge of the mat. The heels want to be roughly in a line here, and the pelvis is facing to like the left edge of your mat. Back leg fairly straight through the knee, and then that front knee has so much of a bend in it that the knee is over your heel. Hands can find the edges of the pelvis. This is our warrior 2. Or you can reach the hands out left and right. And then that one last addition is looking towards your front hand, so looking over your right fingers. Breath in and out here. One more round of breath here. Fab. What we're going to do is actually switch that to the other end of the mat. So if you lengthen through your front leg, let your hands find the pelvis, turn your right toe to face the long edge of your mat, and then turn your left toe to face the back of your mat. You'll notice we've kind of mirrored it to the other side. So the left knee pulls forward so it's over your heel, pushing down for the outside edge of the back foot. Hands can stay on your pelvis, or then reach the hands out nice and wide here, looking over your front fingers, taking a couple of breaths here. A warrior 2. From here, can we bring the hands back to the pelvis, turn the toes to the long edge of the mat, so both feet, the toes are facing to the long edge of the mat, and have the feet wide enough that you kind of feel a little bit of stretch on the inside of your legs. So you can always shuffle them wider if it feels like there's space to go wider. Hands find the edges of the pelvis, and then a tiny bend in your knees. So if you can stand up nice and tall through the spine. And then allow the torso to come forwards, hinging at the hips. And you can then slide your hands onto the thighs if you like. I'm just going to step sideways so you can see a little bit more of where we're going here. Your hands might stay high up on the thighs. You could take them towards your shins if you like, or you could let the hands dangle down towards the ground here. Let the head tuck or be heavy. Breath in and out. And then if your hands are dangling down, bring them back onto your knees or your thighs, and then rolling back up. Great. We're going to simply step to the top of our mat. So if you are, like I was, wide-legged, long edge of the mat, you're going to look forward and just bring that back foot up the top of the mat. Have the feet about the width of the pelvis, wide here, hands on the pelvis, and just taking a few circles around with the pelvis here. Nothing fancy, just kind of moving around one direction and then the other direction. Great. We are going to come all the way down onto the ground here, and we're going to think about how we might come down to the ground, perhaps without using any props. If you do want to grab props, grab them. If you have a wall close, you can also kind of hold onto the wall as you go down. But have the feet about the distance of the pelvis apart, toes facing forwards. Let your hands come down, and then tucking the chin under to roll all the way down here. And the shoulders roll forward, a rounding of the spine, a bending of the knees. So if you can keep bending the knees as you come down so that your fingertips can eventually find the ground. And then the right foot is going to step behind over to the left edge of your mat. Bring your left knee slowly to the ground. Untuck your right toe. Right hand goes behind. And then just simply sliding yourself down onto your glutes. Let the legs come out in front of you, and I'm going to shuffle myself a little further forwards here. So you want to have enough space behind you that you can eventually come down onto your mat. And what we might want to think about is support for our head. So if a pillow might feel good for you, you can grab your pillow again and you can take that behind you. So it's ready, like waiting for your head to land on it here. We're going to shuffle ourselves far forwards enough. Bring the feet to the ground, the knees nice and wide. Let your hands go behind you, and then just slowly bringing yourself down onto your back body here. See if the back of your pelvis can feel nice and grounded. So wriggle it if you want to wriggle it here. Great. Can we bring our feet the distance of the pelvis wide? Same with the knees, and the heels quite close to you. So bring the heels as close as you can. Let the palms find the ground here. We're going to take 3 rounds of our bridge pose before we come to a bit of rest today. So imagine that you're pushing your lower back into the ground. Find a squeeze of your glutes. Starting to lift your pelvis, push into your feet, push into your palms. Lifting the pelvis off the ground, sending your knees forward, so away from you. And then slowly lowering the back of the pelvis down. And we're going to repeat that twice more. You can play around with going higher if you like to. So there's this kind of tucking of the tailbone under, a push of the lower back down into the ground, a squeeze of the glutes, and then a lifting of the pelvis up. Keep the knees parallel, or the inside of the thighs parallel. And then again, slowly bringing the pelvis back down. One more time. Squeeze the glutes, push to the feet and the palms, lifting the pelvis up. Take a round of breath when you're up here this time. So breathing rather than holding your breath. And then allow the pelvis to land again. You might take the feet a bit wider, and then some gentle sways of the knees. Left and right. Left and right. Taking that twice more. Left and right. Left and right. Finding the center. We're going to pause for a bit of rest here. You might bring your hands to the front of your torso. You can keep yourself in the position that you're in now, where the knees are lifted, or you can play with sending your legs out long. So lying down on your back here. Hands can stay on your torso, or let the hands come down either side. You might close the eyes down for a moment, or you could focus up to your ceiling. And just thanking yourself for taking a bit of time to explore some yoga on your mat today. And well done if it was your first time. Maybe you're just returning to a practice. But either way, thanking yourself for that, or sending yourself a bit of gratitude whilst you're here. You might tune back into the rhythm of your breath for another minute here. Gentle flow of inhale and exhale. To close our practice here, we'll take a few deeper breaths together. Breathing in through your nose and out through the mouth. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Allow your natural rhythm of breath to return. And we'll close our practice here for today. A really big thank you for joining. We'll see you again soon.